Good morning, everyone. I am Shanon Johnson with Journey Home Realty, and today I am joined with Jeremy Jordan with Atlantic Bay. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Good morning. Thanks, Shanon.
So, for those of you who don't know, Jeremy Jordan and us, we work very closely together. So we know that he is from this area. He's from Poquoson, born and raised. But I think what we're always curious about is what made you decide to stay here and set roots down?
It's a good question. I mean, I actually went away to college. I would say the one thing that kind of brought me back is my wife. We actually went to school together, went to high school together, and her roots are back here. Also from a retired Air Force family. So her father retired here at Langley. So, direct ties to the military through that as well.
Yeah.
So I would say that she's the one that probably made me come back here.
Right,
But,
yes.
But I love the area, and I'm so glad to be back raising our family.
No, and I get that, especially because we were active duty.
Sure.
It is huge for us, and especially for our kids. They want roots, and so I can understand why she's like, I don't want to leave everywhere. She probably spent her whole life moving.
Right.
So, yeah. So our next question is, what made you decide to become a mortgage lender?
So the story behind that is really quite interesting. So I went and got an accounting finance degree from Randolph-Macon College.
Oh, wow.
And in Ashland, so not too far up the road from Poquoson. But I got out of school, and at that point in time in 2006, the big industry was medical device sales, pharmaceutical sales, things of that nature. That's kind of where all the money was.
Yeah.
So I wanted a job that I knew was in sales, something that was fairly flexible, and went to my first interview with one of those pharmaceutical sales companies and found that I needed quote-unquote sales experience. That despite the fact that I was 22 and anxious and motivated, they encouraged me to go get 1 year's worth of sales experience and then come back. So I had an accounting finance degree, and my nephew was born at Riverside Hospital here in Newport News.
Yeah.
And went up there, and one of my other family members had been in the mortgage business for 38 years at the time, encouraged me to give it a chance. He said,
Wow.
Jeremy, I think this would be a great industry for you. He said the average age of a mortgage consultant here locally in Hampton Roads is around 54 years old, so there's great opportunity. And he just said, I think you'd be a great fit and love the industry and be able to bring value to your clients, and you'll love to meet the people and be around new people. And so I said, you know what, let's give it a shot, right?
Yeah.
So December of 2006, I started in the mortgage business, and again, with the notion of trying to get that 1 year sales experience.
Right.
And then 16, 17 years later, here I still am.
Wow. So 16, 17 years you've been doing this.
Yeah, just finished my 16th year and onward towards 17 at this point. So
that's incredible.
You got to think, though, like when I first started, if you think about that timeline, that early 2007, 2008 timeline, we were in the midst of, one of the largest financial crises, this country's ever seen. And, but for me, I didn't know any better.
Right.
So if I had one deal going that month, I was motivated and excited.
Yeah.
If I had 3 deals going, that was just icing on the cake. So for me, it gave me the ability to really learn the industry. I like to say that, I'm one of the few folks that made it because I went in with a class of 9 other mortgage bankers. Wow. And the pull-through ratio of somebody getting out of this business to make it a career is small. It's 100% commission. It's really not for everybody. Yeah. It's a tough, but having the local roots and local ties to the area, and then just caring about my clients and just loving what I do and loving my referral partners.
Yes, yeah.
One of the best ones that is here, but that's just who I am, and like I said, it's been a good career for me.
Oh, I love it. I will say the care you provide your clients is top notch, and I think that's why we are so closely tied with you, is that it's so important to us that if we bring you clients that are near and dear to our heart, that you take good care of them, and you absolutely do.
Yeah, part of our motto at Atlantic Bay is that we genuinely care, and that's one of the reasons why I've stayed with a company like Atlantic Bay for as long as I have. Is I think from the back end, from the operations side of things, we do genuinely care. From my processor, from my assistant, to my business development manager, we do genuinely care about the client.
No, and it shows. It definitely shows. And I think that that's a great segue to the next question is, What do you think sets you and Atlantic Bay apart from other lenders that are out there?
I mean, for most homeowners, like this day and age, like you can almost go anywhere to get a mortgage. I mean, that is the one thing that has changed over the years is you could go to your credit union, you could go to your bank, you could go online, you could go to a call center. I know for me personally, like having the ability to be able to pick up the phone and speak with someone. And look, as you guys have seen many times, a lot of our clients, they may be overseas.
Right.
They may be, on the West Coast, where there's a couple hour time difference. So, having that accessibility to be able to speak to somebody after maybe normal business hours, right? I mean, that's a big part of the process. So, I mean, I like to think that we're kind of like the special sauce that comes with, the process. That the nice part about it is when you work with me throughout the entire loan process.
Yes.
From beginning to end, from the initial pre-qualification, from the initial call, to the end of the process, And again, for most folks, they can go get their loan anywhere. Yeah. But some of the other things that makes Atlantic Bay attractive is that we do some in-house servicing, for our clients, whereas we'll close their loan and then service their loan for them internally. Yeah. So they can make all their payments to Atlantic Bay and have everything kind of under that one umbrella. But again, I think that's kind of what makes us different is just that personal touch, the ability to be with you from the beginning to the end of the process, and just having somebody that cares every step of the way.
I agree. I think it is very noticeable when you do your business with Atlantic Bay that you notice that you are very accessible. We always know how to find you.
Right.
Heck, we know where you live.
That's right.
So for us, that is huge because we do service so many families that are not in the area. Being able to reach out and get answers from you
for sure
when it's their waking hours is a big difference for us when we're dealing with you. And then also, I think another item that sets you apart is that we have rarely, if not ever, had any hiccups when it comes to it. The way Atlantic Bay handles their loans, it sets you apart for us as agents because we don't have any surprises because Jeremy's favorite saying is what surprises are for birthdays. So we are very thankful for that kind of relationship. So tell us, what kind of loans does Atlantic Bay offer?
So we do the full vast array of all residential loans in terms of financing. So from your standard VA loans, conventional loans, FHA loans, which I would call them kind of the standard three. And then your USDA homes, which we do have some USDA or rural housing areas, might be in Gloucester's, Matthew County, areas of Suffolk, Upper Toano. So we do come into play where USDA might play a role as well. And then all of the renovation options as well. So from your VA, your reno loans to your FHA 2 or 3K loans to some of your home style renovation loans for conventional purposes. I like to think that we're and then the jumbo market for your higher end homes. If there's a residential loan, I feel like we can pretty much offer that in most instances. There's only been one or two little minor scenarios that we haven't been able to check a box for a client. And again, if it's something that we don't offer for whatever reason, we'll try to do some research and help. I mean, being president of the Peninsula Mortgage Lenders Association here in Hampton Roads, sometimes there's another colleague that might have a shelf program loan, and we're always going to take the steps to do what's best for the client.
Yes, and I can't say it enough. It definitely shows. So then I would like to ask, what is your advice for home buyers?
Sure, yeah.
How should they start? What should they look for in their lenders? Things like that.
I mean, I think ultimately, for a prospective buyer right now, it's gather that upfront information because, I mean, there's been numerous situations where a client might have said, hey, I do not want my credit report pulled. I know I have a great credit score. And then every once in a while, they get that credit score pulled, and then there's a previous medical collection that they knew nothing about, that they were, maybe PCS, they got a bill to some previous address, and it wasn't ever reported. Yeah. And so we do have the option here at Atlantic Bay to do what's called a soft credit check. Or a soft credit pull. So that's not going to add a hard inquiry to their credit report. So even despite the fact that they think they've got an 815 credit score, I would encourage them to pick up the phone. Let's go ahead and do a soft credit check, just to get a kind of a true baseline, just to make sure that there's no issues whatsoever. Because again, from time to time, the client that says, hey, I know I don't have any issues, I'm going to wait till I find something and then call Jeremy. It's one out of every 50 that it's really just a tough pill to swallow, because then now we got to backtrack and we've got to come up with a new plan to try to how to tackle a credit related issue. So I think ultimately from time to time it's one of those situations that it can be very difficult if that type of thing does take place. So I think also the other thing is that it's really good to look for somebody that has, number one, their best interest, and number two, ask them for a lot of their information up front, and gives that loan officer or mortgage banker the tools to make an informed decision. I'm of the opinion that if I just do a credit check and really don't ask for a pay stub, a W-2, a bank statement, and just be really kind of thorough, then have I really done my job? I mean, not to the standard that I hold for my clients.
Exactly.
And I think if you get with that client up front and explain to them the process, and ask for a lot of those things up front, and just say, look, I'm just doing this just to make the process more streamlined and more efficient for you.
Yeah.
A lot of folks also don't like to be tasked with, hey, I need another W-2, or I need another pay stub, or I need another bank statement, or hey, I need to address this issue. A lot of the time, if we gather that information up front, we can give the underwriter the ability to kind of make an upfront review. And that's the only other thing that I'll leave with, is that we do upfront underwriting here at Atlantic Bay. So that is one of the things that certainly makes us different. Contract comes in, we submit a file to the underwriter. Within 24 to 48 hours, we're going to have an underwriting decision. We're not going to have it be a 30-day close, and on day 26 have it finally go to an underwriter, and an underwriter kick it back because they want X, Y, and Z.
Yep.
And then next thing you know, you're 2 weeks past the closing date, and you're delayed. And for a lot of our clients, right? I mean, they're coming to the area for the first time.
Yes.
They might be in a housing situation where they're paying out of pocket. Every single day is could be costly for them.
Right.
Especially folks that might have children, and getting them in school and getting them settled.
Yes.
We just want to have all of those things, I's dotted, T's crossed, so that when they show up in Hampton Roads and they're expecting to close on that day, that we deliver on that.
Absolutely. And I will say that underwriting ahead of time has really cut off a lot of hiccups or surprises at the tail end.
Yeah.
And it allows you and your team to get ahead of things, which has been amazing. So I will leave with our last question is definitely always, what has been your most memorable experience with a client in your 17 years of doing this?
Yeah, I mean, gosh, it's a tough question. You always remember your first deal in this business, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so I do remember my first deal that I ever closed back in 2007. But it might arguably be the individual Hermie from the VA transaction that we just recently closed. Coming to the States and kind of really being the first homeowner in his family. And you in my business, it's tough to get emotionally invested with clients.
Yes.
But it's also tough for me not to do that, right?
100%.
So, I mean, I have a special place with each one of my clients, and I love building that rapport and that relationship. So, I do find that this is a business, right? And we have to protect the, what's best for our company. And but I also care tremendously about my clients. So I think, we kind of do get emotionally invested with our clients.
I agree.
And it's hard to kind of turn that switch off, right?
Yes.
But because we've got a job to do, and but we also want to make sure that the loan process is smooth and efficient for them, and they become a client for life, right? That's the overall. But I mean, I would say maybe an individual like that, where you find out that they are a first-time home buyer for their family, like no one in their family has owned a home before, and you get to give them the keys for the first time. All those experiences become very memorable. So
no, I agree. I think we've done a lot of transactions together, and
Sure.
I think we all love every single one of our clients, but getting to let that family live out their American dream,
it's awesome.
I think really held a special place for all of us, getting to see that come to fruition for both of them. So
because this for most folks, this is their largest investment.
Yes.
So it's an investment that we understand that we take great pride in allowing them to let us in their life to, become one of the pieces that gets them to that closing table. So
I agree. And then getting to meet his dad was also really
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
I agree. The Bissambolas was definitely
sure. Pretty special.
Yeah. So thank you so
Sure.
much.
Thanks for having me.
Again, I am Shanon Johnson. I'm with Journey Home Realty, and I have Jeremy Jordan here with Atlantic Bay, and I will put both of our websites at the bottom. If you have any questions about lending or home buying, Jeremy Jordan is a great point of contact for that. He has never turned down any of our phone calls to ask questions, even at odd hours that we call him. And then if you are a local business who would like to be featured on our website, please reach out at parkbench.com/tab or downtown-Pocosin. Thank you guys so much.